Okay, welcome everyone. Super excited for tonight's training so we can end March strong, start April off on a great foot. Tonight's going to be just like all social media basics, like everything that you need to know, like especially all of you who are in the Run to Silver chat. This is going to be like kind of like a no excuses after tonight's Zoom because we're going to be going over all the hacks, simple ways to get content out even when you're busy. So those of you that are working demanding full-time jobs or have a lot of kids, you're going to hear from Nicole, who works, a full-time job while being super pregnant. You're going to hear from Fayre and I, who run this business while having tons of kids at home and all the drop-offs and pickups and all that going on. And so I'm really excited for all of you to get the value you're going to get from tonight, because I know so many of you are in different seasons of life and have different things going on. And our goal for you after tonight is that you know exactly what you should be doing daily to reach more people, have a better place in the algorithm, have more people seeing your stuff. But also, just to put it simply, like being able to like put good content out there without overthinking, being able to get great things out even when you're busy. So I hope you brought your notepads. We'll definitely, this is recorded, so you can definitely watch this again and go over it. And this will definitely be something you want to immediately get in your new people's hands as they sign, so they have that same confidence going forward too. So we're just going to jump right in. And we'll kick it off with, quick ways to grow your following. I know all three of us have like a few different strategies we use. And so one thing that we're really excited about tonight is that you can pick what resonates with you the best. Because how I grow my following, how I add friends on Facebook might be different than Fayre and Nicole, but they all work. We've all built successful businesses before. And so you're going to be able to kind of take what seems the easiest to you or what you jive with the most and implement that. And that'll be the same with all the other tips we give. So it's super important to grow your network. We all know you don't want to just be selling to friends and family. You don't want, your same, 5 friends from high school trying to buy from you. And you don't want to get waylaid when those few people that you thought were going to buy from you say no or negative, et cetera. One thing that I love about social media is when I got started in our last company, I actually had a lot of people be super negative that were close to me. My family was super unsupportive. Like pretty much my sister was my only customer. Everybody else, made fun of me. And so I had to quickly figure out, like, how can I grow and reach more people that need what I have to offer, that are people completely outside of my network. And that's what I did. So I took my Instagram following from 200 followers to 10,000 in a year. Since then, I've grown it to about 35,000. And then my Facebook, I'm like constantly maxed out at 5,000 and, growing the followers by the day. I think I'm at like 11,000 followers, outside the friends. So I hope you know that, like, no matter where you are, like, I know some of you are like, I don't even have Instagram, or, oh, I only have 100 followers. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, none of us started out with, thousands of followers. What you see us have now, like, we've intentionally grown that. So my best tips for Facebook for growing your following is to go to like a popular guy from high school, popular guy from college, because we all know guys typically have a lot of girlfriends on social media. And what I would do is I would go to their Facebook and I would go to their friends, and then I would just sort through who I had the most mutual friends with, because there'd be, inevitably be a lot of women that it's like, oh, you have 7 mutual friends with this person, 12 mutual friends with this person. And I would just add, back in the day, you could add more, you could add like 50. Now I feel like on Facebook, more like 20 at a time is better, because otherwise Facebook will start like being like, what's up? Why is she adding so many people? But what I like to call like a gold mine is when you find someone that has like so many people to add that you don't even need to find anybody else to go to for a while. You can go for the next week or two to their page and add 20 every single day. So let that kind of get your wheels turning, because I'm sure every single person on here has someone like that on your friends list on Facebook, that like it would make it so simple for you. Just every morning, go to their page, add 10 to 20, and then move on to the next person. And that is a great way that you can grow. And then my second tip for Facebook that I like to do is if someone's negative, if someone's just like super awful, like someone you knew from, high school, college, whatever, someone you used to work with, maybe it's a cousin. And I think I shared this on the last Zoom, but like if someone's like awfully negative and you're like, I'm not even ever going to try to win them over, go ahead and just go to their friends list and exact same thing, like add the people that you have some mutual friends with. Because I'm telling you, like, number one, you're turning a negative into a positive, but number two, they might not be interested, but that does not mean their friends aren't. And like, maybe it's a blessing in disguise. They never joined, but then now you have all this network that you can pull from without any guilt, because they're never going to join you anyways. I did this with one of my cousins in our last company. She was super negative. And so I just was like, you know what? I'm not going to let it get to me. I'm just going to go add some of her friends. And literally one of her friends joined me probably like a month later and went what in our last company was called Diamond in like 30 days. So literally was making a full-time income in literally like 30 days and like referred so many other people that were in that same little circle. I had a ton of her friends that became customers on like high package orders. And so never let it get to you if someone's negative, just like literally let it roll off your shoulders and go add their friends, because I'm telling you, like it might end up just being the biggest blessing in disguise ever. And then for Facebook, for Instagram, what I recommend is just finding like a mom or someone that you feel like you have some stuff in common with. It can even be someone that's like semi-popular. Let's say there's like an influencer that you follow or you like, someone that has a lot of followers. And you go not to their followers, because that might not be all active Instagram users. Those could be people that followed them like 10 years ago and aren't active anymore. But go to like the latest 3 posts, the people that liked those posts, because those are active users. They just like the post, right? So they're definitely active on Instagram. And then go through the followers, or the people that like the posts, and just start adding people that look like they have something in common with you. So for me, I add people that are women mostly. In fact, I only add women on Instagram. And I'll add people that are mostly moms. And because the reason for that is like, we have people that join us from all different seasons of life. I just signed someone that's in college the other day that I'm super excited about. But I do mostly have moms that join me. And so I typically, when I'm growing, focus mostly on moms, just because I know they're going to relate the most to my story. They're going to relate the most to wanting more time with their kids, wanting more freedom. And so I'll just follow, accordingly like that. And then what I also like to share as a tip is that I'll follow people mostly that are private, because if you follow someone that's public, here's the thing, they might not notice that you follow them. If they get a lot of notifications, like I know I don't always pay attention to every single person that follows me, because if it comes with a bunch of other notifications, if you're busy, you just take a quick glance and move on. But if they're private and they have to accept you, I find that the follow back rate is really, really high. So take that for what it's worth. But I definitely have always found that works a lot better for growth for me. Fayre, you want to share your best growth tip?
I love that. Yeah. So Facebook was my jam back in the day. I'm probably older than most people on this call. So I'm the grandma of the bunch. I grew my first business on predominantly Facebook. But Facebook has changed. So that's exciting. It's not a scary thing. It's always good to adjust to the times. But back in the day, what I did a lot was I joined groups, and I didn't go in there and I didn't spam them and I didn't tell them that I was with an MLM, and I didn't post anything about that, but I would join groups of like-minded people. So, for instance, I consider myself a freedom fighter. I'm in the health freedom movement, and so I go into a lot of crunchy moms groups, health freedom groups, stuff like that, and I add myself in there, and I'll do an introduction post. I do not say I have an online business. I say nothing like that. I just post a picture of me and my family, and I'll introduce myself and say, my name, my age, that I have X amount of kids. Here's why I'm in this group. Tell a little story about my oldest son, and that's it. And like, you'll get a ton of likes just by an introduction post saying nothing about your business. And then I'll go add people who like and comment, because they're like, oh, the same thing happened to my son, or whatever, like-minded people, like-minded events, whatever it might be. And then I'll go add those people. I'll go friend them, and then I'll message them and be like, thank you so much for your comment. I was nervous to, introduce myself in a group that big and tell my story, but I really appreciate your support. And that's it. I don't say anything about my business. I don't plug myself at all. But then I now have a new Facebook friend that we already have something in common. They don't think I'm trying to sell them, which I'm not. I'm trying to, make genuine connections. But eventually they're going to see a business post. So maybe they are interested, maybe they're not. Either way, I've made a new friend. We have something in common, and I stay in touch with a lot of these people. So that's one thing, is going and joining groups. And again, there's groups for everything. My youngest daughter, I'm a mom of 6, and my youngest was born via IVF, because I had my tubes tied after my other youngest child, my last. And I went and joined a bunch of IVF groups, and I have a ton of friends from those IVF groups. Maybe you have, an autoimmune disease that you can go look at Hashimoto's groups. There's groups for everything, grief groups, health related groups, local mom groups, community pages, realtor pages, like you name it. So I just go join as many groups that speak to me as humanly possible, and I do an introduction post. And from there, I'll go into the groups once in a while. I do have to unfollow a lot of them because I'll get too many notifications, but I'll go to my groups sometimes and like look at one that I haven't interacted with in a while. If I do not like it or whatever, it doesn't relate to me anymore, I'll leave it. But otherwise I'll go back in and I'll do it all over again. I'll do a new one like, oh my gosh, so glad to find this group again. Haven't seen you guys in a while. And I'll do another introduction. So just keeping yourself in groups is one way to meet people that are they're not even going to have any mutual friends with you. Like, they're going to be total strangers, but I have made some of the best friends, some of the best business partners in those groups. So that's one thing. Obviously adding friends. Back when I started, I had like 300 friends. I'm from a tiny town of Illinois. I moved to Florida when I was like 19. So almost all my friends, and again, I'm older. So, I got Facebook like the first year it came out in like 2010 or whatever. And all my friends were from my little tiny town in Rochester, Illinois. And so I was like, oh my gosh, I have to meet people here in Florida. I was a stay-at-home mom at the time. So I was like, how can I do that? And I just started adding people that were literally local to me. So I would search my town, because you know how you like can put where you live. I don't know if you still can, but back then you actually had like where you lived in your bio. And I would go search for people in my town and I added moms that way. I also started my own moms group because I found out that my town here in Florida didn't have a moms group. So I'm the admin of the Tarpon Springs moms group because I was like, holy crap, this is a gold mine. Nobody here is doing this. So if you don't have a current mom group in your little town, create one, be the admin, because everyone will message you, especially if they want to post something and they're not sure they can. So I've made a ton of friends that way. So groups. Adding friends, Brittany already covered that. Obviously, I add friends of friends, mutual friends. That was one of my tasks today, is like go to a family member or a friend's. I love her idea of like the popular guy in high school, because obviously he's going to be following all the women that you may or may not have been friends with and you've forgotten about at this point. Add your friends from high school. Literally rack your brain and be like, oh my gosh, my first job, and go add some of your friends from your first job. Like, just adding people is so important. And when you max out at 5,000, which is a great problem to have, I go in and I look at least interacted with every once in a while, and I delete some to open up new spots, obviously. If you've made it to the creator status and you can get followers, that's great. But if you're still working on just building that friends list, make sure you don't have like inactive accounts, because sometimes people will just like pause their thing or shut it down or whatever. So just go in there and look at your friends list and see if there's any that are inactive completely. It'll have like no picture anymore. And even when you go to unfriend them, it'll say like, if this person reactivates, they're not going to be your friend anymore. Cool, bye. Because they can re-add me if they reactivate. And then just who you least interacted with. And I usually just unfollow them or unfriend them to clear up some space. So that would be my Facebook tips. Instagram to this day is still not my favorite thing. I wish I had 10,000 followers on Instagram. I have always struggled with Instagram, but I started following like an influencer, and she's actually doing courses on reels on Instagram. And apparently if you do like 3 reels, which I know sounds crazy, but like 3 reels a day on Instagram, apparently that helps grow. So I started doing that for a while and it did work. It did work. I did grow some of my following, but I need to get back to the consistency in that. But Instagram, that's Brittany's thing. That's not me. So Facebook is my jam. If you ever need help with Facebook, I can help you there. And reels on Facebook, which we're going to get to, but definitely reels on Facebook.
And what I love about this, guys, is it just shows you that like, even if you haven't yet mastered something, it is not an excuse to not be successful, because obviously Fayre is still very successful despite not loving Instagram. And like Instagram has, ironically been where most of my success has come from, and hers has come from Facebook. And that just shows you that. And she's not saying like, don't try on Instagram. Like, I know she still puts stuff on Instagram. She's just like being vulnerable with you. Like, that she doesn't have it all figured out yet. And that, I hope, is like a big encouragement to everyone listening. Like, you don't have to have it all figured out to still have some momentum going and have success. So Nicole, what are your best tips?
I'm gonna jump right onto that because Facebook is not my jam. I grew my first business 90% on Instagram. I started with a couple hundred followers. I grew up to about 30,000. Unfortunately, got hacked. So my number one social media tip is going to be make sure you have two-factor authentication on. It's super simple. Everyone, as soon as you get off this, make sure you go on and turn it on for Facebook and for Instagram. If I had it on, I wouldn't have lost my account. So you just go to your settings, make sure two-factor authentication's on. If somebody tries to break into your account, it'll send you a text and you have to approve it on a second thing to allow someone to change your password. So that's number one. As soon as you get off here, make sure two-factor authentication's on both. But Brittany already hit the nail on the head when it comes to Instagram. You want to add active accounts. So I will go to, and now you can kind of mesh the two tips together where you're like going to a friend from high school or a friend that you work with or yada yada, or just someone that you know that you like and you have things in common with them. Go to their recent posts and follow the people that liked it. That's like the most important thing because there's a lot of people on Instagram that are inactive that just don't really do anything. You want to get in front of the people that are actually on there scrolling. So going to their followers sometimes doesn't do it for you. You want to go to the people that are actually watching. Um, but being when it comes to Instagram and Facebook are so incredibly different. When it comes to Instagram, being in front of people, like don't drive yourself crazy over the follower account. I know Fayre just said like I'd love to be at 10,000. That's great. Yeah, that's all of our goals, right? We all want to work up to that, but don't drive yourself crazy over it. Add people every day. You might add 100. Don't do it all at once. You want to break it up throughout the day. You might add 100 and only 20 follow you back, but that's freaking exciting. That's 20 new people that have followed you back. So then it comes to, and we'll get to all these other tips, but then it comes to making sure that you're posting and you're getting in front of those 20 people. Even if it's 5 people, it's 5 new people. So quite frankly, these ladies kind of hit the nail on the head with it already. Following on Instagram, don't overthink it. Go to someone you know, go to someone you like the or follow the people that have liked or commented on their recent posts, and it will just happen. Then Sarah adds you, and then you follow some of Sarah's friends, and then Maria adds you, and then you follow some of Maria's friends, and it's just like a ball that just keeps going and going and going. Do not overthink it. You never know who you'll find. I have had the craziest people, like Brittany said, like the craziest people you'd never expect be interested, and they become the best ones yet. So just keep rolling with that ball and just follow new people. I truly don't have many tips on Facebook. I'm going to utilize the tips I just learned tonight. So let's go.
Yeah, and one more thing I wanted to throw on Instagram because it made me think of it when Fayre was talking about growing locally on Facebook. If you're wanting to get local followers on Instagram, a really easy hack is you can search places on Instagram. So search like a mall in your town or a movie theater or a restaurant, and then go to that restaurant or that movie or the movie theater, mall, whatever. And then go to the people, same thing that I shared, like that liked the latest 3 posts. And those are most likely going to be people that live in your town because, I mean, why else would somebody? Unless you live in like a vacation destination, then it might be a little different. But that is a great way too. Like every now and then I'll be like, you know what? Like, let me just try to connect with people local. I've been going all random and, I might only do it for a couple of days, but like Nicole said, if you gain 20 more local followers, like that's just more people that are in your backyard that you can connect with. So next we're going to jump into engagement. So we all know engagement's huge. Like social media is very, big on like, you got to give to get. And so if your engagement is low, no need to, fret, but it might be because you haven't really been engaging a lot with other people. And it could be due to a few other reasons, and we'll talk about that. But engaging with your network is a great way to boost your place in the algorithm and get more people's eyes on your stuff. One other thing that I want to share is, especially with Instagram, and it is applicable to Facebook to an extent, but this is definitely relative for Instagram. Like who you're constantly seeing in your feed is who is also seeing your stuff most likely. Like it's a reciprocal algorithm. And so one tip I want to share on Instagram, where a lot of people make a mistake, is they'll follow way too many famous people or way too many, high level influencers with hundreds of thousands of followers who are never going to follow you back. And it's fine to follow the people that inspire you, but like don't follow people just to follow people. Follow the people that inspire you, follow the people that you're getting value from, follow people you want to connect with and build genuine connections with, but don't just follow to follow. One thing that really served me well in our last company was I only followed a couple leaders. Like I had like maybe 5 that I really, really looked up to and inspired me. And then obviously I followed like our CEO and our, chief networking officer and people like that. But I didn't follow every single person I ever watched on a Zoom, because here's the thing, as this company grows, like you're going to get on corporate Zooms and you're going to hear from all these different people. If someone really resonates with you and you're like, oh my gosh, like I'm a mom of 5, she's a mom of 5 too, I loved everything she said, by all means, go follow her. But don't just follow every single person just because you heard them talk and they said one thing that, gave you a light bulb moment. And I don't say that to be like callous, but if you get to a point where you're just following everyone to follow them and it's never anyone you're going to do business with, what's going to happen is like, that's all you're going to see on your feed, So just keep that in mind. Like, obviously, most of you are probably following the 3 of us, and that's great because you're getting ideas from our posts and things like that. You should definitely be following like Mike Patillo and his wife, because you're going to get great ideas from them, Immunotech. But just as you grow, be mindful of like just being all willy-nilly with your following, because it will start to affect your engagement if you're not following like relative people. So that being said, for engagement, my best tips, that was my first thing I kind of wanted to share, just to keep your feed in a way that like you need it to look. But as far as like practical daily engagement, don't overcomplicate it. What I like to do is just like first thing in the morning, I'll spend literally like 5 minutes liking and commenting. Nothing crazy. I can sometimes will even do it while I'm like waiting on my kids to get out the door, to go to school. It doesn't have to be anything that took up a ton of time. And then before I make a post, I like to do it again, quick 5 minutes, like and comment. I find that the days I don't do this, my posts don't get as much interaction. Like my reach is not as good. The days I do it are the days that like my reel will get a ton more views. I'll get shared a lot more and things like that. And then I like to do it just once more at night. So before I put my phone away, when my phone goes on do not disturb and I'm going to check out for the night, I'll just take 5 more minutes. And I do that on Facebook and Instagram. So that's my tip. Nothing legendary. But I just like and comment genuine things. I just as far as I can get my feed in 5 minutes. And you can get a lot of headway in 5 minutes. Replying to stories is also a great way to get people to notice you, because when you reply to their stories, it goes straight to their DMs. And so they're obviously going to see it. They've got to open an actual message. So you can even just do that, like 5 minutes of replying to stories every day. That's also a really good tip.
I love that. Stories are fantastic because, like you just said, Brittany, it goes right to their messenger, and you don't look like a weirdo. You're like genuinely watching something, and like, I'll say the silliest thing, like, oh my gosh, girl, cute shirt. Like, I don't even know what her video is about, but if I like her shirt, I'll just say like, oh my gosh, cute shirt, and then she'll respond because it's right in her messenger. Yes, my love. Yes, but I told you I'm busy for a little bit. Sorry, guys. This is gonna forever be an issue when I'm on a Zoom. So get used to Ocean. This is Ocean. She loves the camera. Um, so that's one thing, is always like, if I'm going to get lost in the scroll, I'm gonna get lost in stories, because I know my comment's gonna go directly to their messenger, and they're gonna read it. That's why they're in stories, because they want you to watch their stories. So that was a great note to end on, Brittany. My other thing, you guys will see me talk about engagement posts. I always do an engagement post before I do some kind of business or product post. I try to, almost always, because I want to bump my algorithm up before I post something that I actually want them to see. So it sounds so silly, because it's like, I don't want to say I don't care. I do care. Like, what's your favorite crock pot recipe? I do sometimes save them. I do sometimes care. But for the most part, it's literally just to get comments. And like, sometimes I will get a great recipe, but most of the time I'm like, oh, that sounds delicious. It's just to comment back. It's just to get that engagement, because then your next post, if you have enough comments on that, the algorithm says, okay, people like her content. And then your next post, which is going to be a business or an opportunity post, they're more likely to see. So always doing like some kind of engagement. I do something almost every day where it's not necessarily like, what's your favorite crock pot? Like yesterday, my husband and I had a very, very, very expensive day. And I just threw up a post that was like, guess what we're buying? Because people just love to like, they really do. They love to guess things. They love to comment things. They love to share things. So that helped my algorithm, just by being like, guess what we're buying today. And it was so random. People were like saying the most random things. So engagement posts are often really good, because then again, that next post that you want them to see is more likely to show up in their feed. Can you stop? Don't do that, please. She's licking my shoulder, you guys. Okay. No, just come in. You want to be on the Zoom. Obviously, if you're okay with putting your kids on social media, they will get a lot of engagement. This little one has been all over social media since she was born, and she's like a rock star. So I'm getting sidetracked. Nicole, take it away.
I got you. No worries. Stories on, and again, I'm talking mostly Instagram, guys. Stories on Instagram, people, I don't, but you guys might. They look at who watches your story. Like, do you guys swipe up and you like see who watches your story? I never have any clue who watches my story, but I know like almost everyone else does it. So, one tip that I always did back in the day is when I'm getting in the shower, open the stories and just let them run through. Let them run through. Even though you're not communicating back with the person, I love your shirt, or giving it a heart because you're not seeing it because you're in the shower. It is showing them that you are watching what they're doing. So open your stories and let it just run through the whole time. Um, but honestly, communicating through stories, like Brittany said, is huge. That it gives you a DM. They typically answer back, which lets Instagram know that you guys are interested in having a conversation. Another thing that you can do is on Instagram, they kind of break it up and there's a I think least interacted with breakdown in your followers. And you can it literally lays it out for you. You can go right there and it's people that are following you or you're following them that are you're least interacted with. It's perfect. And you just randomly go there. I mean, if they haven't posted in a year, that don't go to their last post and like comment on it. If they haven't posted in a year, maybe that's someone that you make sure they're following you back. But if they're not, then you can unfollow them and it'll help you balance out your numbers. If they're following you back, of course you can leave them there if you'd like, but that is a way to kind of balance out your numbers more because you're going to be adding every single day. But if they have a story up, boom, perfect. Go right to that story. A way that you can interact. I love that Fayre said, like she puts up an interaction post before that post. You could put up interaction stories on Instagram. Right now, it's super easy for me because I am having a baby and I don't know if it's a boy or a girl. We're doing the surprise. So, like, let me tell you, when I put up like what do you think the sex is with like the side of my stomach, my story views go through the roof. They go up like, I'm not even kidding you, like 800 more than what my story views typically are. So s- questions like that, put a little poll on it. It could be anything, guys. Like, don't overthink this stuff. My biggest tip, don't overthink stuff. Just go for it. People want to see it, people love it. So any kind of post, I don't know, do you like this green plant that I just bought on this corner of the mirror or this corner of the mirror, and let people vote. People just want to put their opinions out there. So put a poll on it and you'll be amazed. You can do the crock pot idea on Instagram, put it on your stories and put a question box and it leaves an open spot for them to write. Back in the day I used to do this is getting real creative and real fun, but I used to do would you rathers, the most random shit ever. I would make up the most craziest would you rathers. People absolutely loved it. Like I made it like a thing where every day I posted a would you rather and they would be ridiculous. I'm telling you, like, would you rather have arms for nipples or nipples for arms, like ridiculous things. See? And it makes everyone laugh and people would come and they would vote. And you can just Google Pinterest, like random would you rathers. And that made my engagement go through the roof. So just be silly and be fun. Like at the end of the day, we live in a world that's like so like unfortunately like gloomy kind of right now. And you can be that person that people like want to go to just to laugh because it's like, what is her brain okay? People love it. Make people laugh. So put random stuff up there. Do the engagement post, do the polls, do all that kind of stuff. It will boost your views. It will boost everything. When you're in the shower, let the stories run through. People will see your name more and they'll be like, oh my gosh, I haven't seen her in forever. Because when you're in the shower for 10 minutes, it'll go to people that like are all the way at the end that typically you would refresh by the time you even reached it there. So they're going to be like, oh my gosh, go to your page. Boom, there you go. You have someone new recycling up. So those are my engagement tips.
I'm gonna have to use your story tip, Nicole, because I'm like you. I don't ever look at who watches my story, like very, very rarely. Pretty much only if I do like a poll or something do I look. Other than that, I don't ever look. That is such a good idea. I'm gonna start doing that. So I love how when you briefly mentioned like when you go to the least interacted and then unfollow people that haven't been active. So we're not going to talk a whole lot about unfollowing on here just because I don't want to overcomplicate this. Maybe we'll share like a quick like pre-recorded video in the page on easy ways to unfollow, because you do want to unfollow as you go, like people that don't follow you back. So you don't have like a ridiculous amount of people that you're following, and then only this many people are following you. So I can share like a tutorial of like an easy way I do it. I mean, it is very time consuming, which is why I don't want to get into it right now, because you kind of have to manually look and all that. But Nicole's tip is a really great way. Like if you look and you see someone has not posted since 2022, I go ahead and unfollow them, because
Yeah.
here's the thing, like it's nothing personal, but like you're not active. So it's if I find 10 of you, that's an easy way I can bring that number down. And that's going to tell the algorithm, that's going to like refresh the algorithm in my favor. I also unfollow anyone who is negative or hateful. Like if someone's just like drama, I'm like unfollow, especially Instagram, because Instagram, it's more where you're going to be conscious of the numbers being active. But yeah, and then that kind of leads me into one tip I just want to share, which will go into more of a content, but like don't post drama. Don't post, you know, like we all have our political opinions, and I think most of us are believe pretty similarly, but like I'm not going to go share something super controversial because I need everyone to know what I think. Because here's the thing, at the end of the day, like I don't want to alienate 50% of my audience, you know. I want people to see me as like a source of light, you know, a source of joy and love and peace and all the good things. Like I don't want them to like see one thing that they disagreed with me on and then they're like writing me off forever, you know? And I mean, to some extent, if someone does, good riddance, you know, whatever. I want people that are not like that, but at the same time, like kind of not poking the bear, so to speak, on social media. So I know you'll have people that tell you differently. There's some people that definitely, I know that Nicole and Fayre, y'all probably remember some people from our previous company that was their whole brand, was like posting confrontational stuff. And, you know, it did really well for them after a season of time, but like, being new, I just really wouldn't recommend that. I think it's a lot easier just to be positive and inspirational. So, another thing I want to share is like making sure you're sharing relative engagement posts that are like not complicated, that are like easy for people to engage with. If they have to read too long and think too hard about what you said, they're probably not going to comment. So like Fayre said, like, what's your favorite crock pot recipe? Like Nicole said, which obviously I know not everybody's pregnant, but like, what do you think I'm having? Like, I know Catherine's not on here right now, but she's working, but she's on the team. And she's pregnant as well. She does know what she's having, but she's been posting things like, what are your best pediatrician recommendations? You know, what's your favorite brand of this? You know, and like anything baby gets great engagement. For those of you that are not in that stage, you know, what's your favorite dry shampoo? What's your favorite tinted moisturizer? You know, like anything that gets women to comment is usually a good thing, but keep them short, sweet, 1 to 2 sentences max. If you post too long of an engagement post, you're probably going to find that it didn't really take off. And I saw that a little bit the last time, I think it was Fayre, you challenged everyone to do an engagement post, and it was something I wanted to share because I saw some of you guys took off right away, but they were short. Some of you guys just kind of went kerplunk, and it's not that it wasn't like a thoughtful post. It's just, it was too long, you know? So when it comes to doing those engagement posts, like Fayre's tip, make sure that they're really relative. Like make sure they're things people are going to want to comment on, because people will tell you what they know, you know, they will love to tell you their recommendations on things. And then a couple other engagement tips: share your life, share your lifestyle, share things, especially in your stories, in between business and product posts, and share your kids, like Fayre said. To my knowledge, I don't think anyone on here at this present time is anti-sharing kids. I know there are some people that do feel that way. I've got 5 kids. Joe and I have 8 kids between the two of us. And like, you know, we always post everything about our kids because people love seeing updates, especially when we get all 8 of ours together and we share like a big family picture. Like it always gets so much attention because it's not something we post all the time because we're not always all together, you know? And so anytime you can like give people like a glimpse into the behind the scenes of your life and things they don't see every day on social media, I feel like that's always a really good boost to your algorithm. So next thing we're going to jump into, I'm going to reverse carousels and reels, guys, since I'm just going to share the carousel tips real quick and then we'll go into reels. So carousel, some of you guys might not know what I'm talking about if you haven't been super active on Instagram yet, because it is an Instagram thing, not really a Facebook thing. But basically a carousel is when you can swipe and see multiple pictures at one time. So it's not just one, you know, they're still posts, they're not reels, they're not videos. Well, you could have a video in there. Like say you had like 2 pictures and the third one was like a cute little, maybe it was a picture of, you know, you and your kids at the park. The second one was another picture at the park. And the third one was like a cute video. That could go in a carousel technically, but it's usually mostly photos. Carousels are really, really, really fruitful right now on Instagram. I actually had a call with Meta about a month ago. They had reached out and just like offered a call for my account. I was, you know, of course, like, yeah, absolutely, I want to call with you guys. And one thing they shared with me was that if you do a carousel with a trending sound, it's going to show in the Reels tab. And if those of you that scroll Reels a lot, you've probably noticed that you've seen some carousels where like you're watching a reel and it's not moving. And if you look closely, like you can scroll through it, but because it has a trending sound, they put it in that same algorithm and they put it in the Reels tab, which is awesome. But if you share a carousel, tip number 1, you want a trending sound. So there's no point posting one if you don't put a trending sound. So a trending sound, for those of you that don't know, when you go to click the music icon, all trending sounds are going to have an arrow that points up. So it's not going to be just the little music icon. It's going to be an arrow pointing up. So you can pick any trending sound you want, anything that is relative to your post or just a song you like or anything like that. But make sure you put a trending sound. That's going to increase your reach a lot. And then one thing that they shared with me was that if you didn't have a lot of pictures to share. So, sometimes like I'll have like 10 pictures from the beach or even just 4 pictures from the beach. And I already have a great carousel, put a sound on it, write a caption, go. But sometimes I just have like one picture and I don't feel like making a reel that night. I'm like, oh, I'm going to do a carousel. So one tip that they shared with me, and I literally never did it until they shared it with me a month ago, and it's been going well, is they said do index captions. And so what an index caption means is you have your cap in the caption where you normally write it, but then you also put it in pictures where they can scroll through. So if you go look at my Instagram, you'll find several of these very recent, if you kind of need a visual for what I'm explaining. I'm really big on keeping my brand consistent. So all of mine are on the same pink background. I literally use GoDaddy Studio, which used to be called Over. So those of you that were in our previous company, you probably know Over because I feel like a lot of people in the company used it. But basically, I'll show you guys. I like have one saved all the time. It looks like that. And I just will click it and then I'll just like change the words. And so like I'll take my caption that I wrote in my notes and I'll just copy and paste the first paragraph, put it in there, save the image, go back, copy and paste second paragraph, put it in there, save the image until I get the whole caption. And then you put your main picture as the first of the carousel. So that's what people are going to see. But then when they swipe through, they could read your caption in pictures instead of having to read it in the bottom. And you put a trending sound on it. And that is supposed to technically have the same potential reach as a reel. So I would definitely, again, because I'm big on branding, if it was me, I would stick to the same color, like pick your color. That's always going to be yours, unless you're going to like match the color to the picture. To me, that's complicated. Like it's so much faster just to have one already ready to go. And then people get familiar with it. They know that's you. But the non-carousels can only reach non-followers if it's got a trending sound. So I cannot emphasize that enough. If you don't put a trending sound, only your followers are going to see it. Put a trending sound, non-followers will see it too. So if you need any more ideas with carousels, I do have quite a bit very recently on my Instagram. Like even if you just scroll my Instagram for 1 minute, you could literally probably find 15 examples. And I think that'll be enough to get your mind like kind of twirling on like what, how you can make that your own and what you could do. Sherry, I'll put it in the chat, but the app is called GoDaddy Studio. And when you download it, it just says studio. So I can actually like, let me lower my exposure real quick, but I can show you what it looks like. It's this one right here. So it just says studio. But if you go to the app store, you would type GoDaddy Studio, and that's what it looks like. It has the little swirly circle on a black background. It's kind of like Canva. I feel like it's more user-friendly than Canva. That's just my personal opinion. There are people that like love Canva so much more, and then there's people that love this more. I think it's honestly just what you got more comfortable using. And this was around as Over before GoDaddy bought it, before Canva even really became a thing. So I've just like been comfortable with it for like a decade. It's not that it's better. It's just, I find it's a little more user-friendly for me. So, but that's my best tips for carousels. Super simple. They're really not anything legendary and they're not hard. So last kind of thing I want to end on this before we go into reels is like, if you have a day that I'm just going to be real talk, because we all have real lives going on. We all have days that are just chaotic. If you have a day that you just feel like you look like crap, you're just not feeling doing a video, your kids are driving you crazy, or you didn't get home from work till 8 o'clock at night, carousels are a really great alternative, because if you already had some good pictures, which the three of us will give you guys some tips on like kind of getting some good stock in your camera roll, to set yourself up for success for days like that. But like, if you have a good stock of photos in your camera roll, you don't have to do anything in real time with the carousel is what's nice. Like you can pick a picture you already have, make those index captions real quick. You can literally have one posted in 5 minutes, Yeah, you got to figure out what you want to write. But once you figure out what you want to write, it's not hard. You just pick your trending sound, tag whoever you're going to tag. If you are, tag your geolocation. Oh, that's another thing. I always tag the location on carousels and reels, and we'll get into reels in a minute. But like, if it's a photo from the beach, we live like 5 minutes from Bunch Beach and then like 10 minutes from Fort Myers Beach. So that's usually where we are. And I'll always tag which beach it is, because what I find is like other people that go like look at stories and look at, the beach and like look at, people that have tagged that, I'll end up getting like some organic followers from people in the area. So always tag your geolocation. That's just an extra, way to increase your reach. And then always put a trending sound. So going into reels, and by the way, guys, as we're going, if you guys have questions, put them in the chat. If it's something we see that we can answer as we go, we will, but otherwise we'll come at the end and make sure we clarify anything that you guys have questions about. So reels, I know that so many of you guys are intimidated by reels. I know that reels are one of those things that if you've never really done them, you're just like, I don't even know where to begin. And I totally get it, because in our previous company, I was someone that like practiced attraction marketing. I didn't cold message. I didn't do parties or anything. I really just did attraction marketing. And I did everything via photos. So I got really good at taking beautiful iPhone photos, editing them in Lightroom where they popped, writing a really inspirational caption, and it just working for me. And when Reels came out, it was a whole new learning curve. So I'm sharing that with you to be vulnerable that like I was intimidated by Reels when they first came out, but I also knew they weren't going away. And so I was like, you know what? I got to learn them. I can't just sit here and be intimidated by it forever because the old way of doing things might not work as well for me now that there's a new technology out there. There's a new, trend that social media is pushing because anytime Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, anything like that, anytime they release a new feature, like they want you to use that new feature. So you can only stay stubborn about it for so long before it will start affecting your results. So that's one reason the three of us really wanted to get on here and share some content ideas with you guys, because I know that Reels, for a lot of people are just something you don't know where to start. So I'm going to share my best ways that I just can quickly, hammer out some Reels, and then we'll pass it around because I know that Nicole and Fayre have totally different ways that they might do it. And you're going to be able to get some like a really good array of tips. And like, again, use what resonates with you. If my tip does not resonate with you at all and Fayre's does, go for it. If Nicole's does, go for it. But just take what, you feel like you can immediately take and implement. That's our goal tonight. So what I like to do for Reels is I will take about 5 minutes, 10 minutes tops, and I will scroll through Reels. And if you don't know how to do that, you go to Instagram and you click right there and you just start watching them. You can just start scrolling. So what I do is I'll just start scrolling through Reels and listening to the sounds. If it does not have a trending sound, so if it has the music icon, I go right past it. I don't even listen to it. If it's got a trending sound, so it's got the arrow, I will listen to it. If it's something that does not resonate with me at all, like not a song I would ever post or not a sound that I like, I'll just go past it. But if it's a sound that I'm like, oh, I kind of like that, or like, I'll just sit there and listen and like see if like an idea sparks of something I could do. And it's probably nothing to do with what they did. But if it's something I feel like I can use, I'll save the sound. And so I'm going to show you guys how to do that real quick. So when you're going through Reels, let's see, this is a trending sound. So see how this has got the arrow right there? That means it's trending. So let's say I really like that sound. I would click right here. And then I would go right up here and click the bookmark. And when you click that bookmark, it's going to save the sound. And then all the sounds that you save are going to be in your saved folder on Instagram, which if you don't know how to find that, super easy. You're going to go to the hamburger when you go to your profile, you go to the hamburger, click it. And then you should have, sorry, my internet's not very good in my office, right there where it says saved. And then it'll have an audio folder. All the sounds you saved will be right there in the audio folder. So that's step one of how I do my Reels is I'll just take like 5-10 minutes max, save a bunch of sounds. And I'll already kind of have an idea for each sound when I save it. Maybe it's one where I'm going to give like some did you know information. Maybe it's one that's, really cute and trendy. I'm just going to do like, one where I'm walking and I share a quick fact and then the rest of the info is in the caption. But that's how I get my flow going is I save the sounds. And then I have a couple different things I do. If it's a product post, I'm always going to do those live, like in real time. So when my reel, say I got ready that day and I'm like, all right, I've got, an hour before I got to go pick my kids up. I will go to my sounds and then I'll record myself with my product reel and I'll do that all live, edit it, whatever. But I also like to do things where like when we go to the beach, my husband will like take like, videos of me. Like we were at the beach last Thursday and we didn't have the kids. Every Thursday, my kids go to their dad's. And so that's always our kid-free day. And so I was like, I'll be fully present in 30 minutes. I'm like, but I got to catch up on some stuff real quick. I got a bunch of messages. And he was like, no worries. I'm just going to take pictures and videos. And so he was out flying the drone and doing a bunch of stuff. And the next thing I know, like I'm literally on my phone messaging and I see him on his iPhone, like recording me. And when I was done, he like showed me, he's like, I got all these great videos of you. And I was like, oh my gosh, thanks. I can make opportunity reels with those. So I know like some of you are like, well, I don't live near a beach, but you could maybe get one where like, and by the way, I have my kids even record me sometimes. I'll get my kids to record me like walking down the street. So you can literally get a child to record you, no shame in that, get your husband, whatever, get a friend. But it can be one of you just like walking down your street. It can be one of you at the park. Maybe you're at the park and you've got multiple kids. You can get one of your older kids to record you like pushing your child on the swing. And that could be an easy reel you make on one of your sounds you saved where you talk about, I've always wanted to be a present mom, but also wanted to provide for my family. Here's how I found a way to do it. and then see more in caption, and then write an opportunity post. So I don't want to take up too much time, but like, hopefully this is kind of getting your wheels turning. Like, I know, Fayre and I are lucky to live in Florida. We live by the beach. We live with palm trees everywhere. It definitely makes it nice for content. But like Nicole will tell you when it gets to her turn, like she's, and you're in South Carolina, you're still at the beach. But I was going to say, you've had a little more of a winter, I feel like, than probably
I was in Connecticut until I was like presidential diamond, so.
yeah. So yeah, you can share tons of hacks for like, having a winter and not having all the same, Florida vibe. But the point is just getting creative, just being authentic, and don't overthink it. Like, I'm telling you, if you go look at some of my reels, I'm literally just like walking down the street, but then I write what I need to say on the thing. The key is the trending sound, and the key is what you have to say. That's what's going to hook people. It doesn't have to be the most glamorous, amazing of all time video you ever did. It's just, you got to relate with people, So that is my best reel tips. And I might think of a couple at the end after we rotate through, but Fayre, let's pass it over to you.
Okay, so those were great. I'm learning something from everyone. I love this. So my thing, I love shorts, and I don't love them because they're actually not great for like business stuff, because you want to put more regarding like opportunity and products. So they're not my favorite for like business things necessarily, but they're my favorite for growing my network, because there's, I'm not done yet. Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you. Like 10 more minutes. Okay. Yes. And she wants to show you guys her picture.
Aw, so beautiful.
Thank you. Okay. So my thing about doing shorts is to literally just grow my audience, so that when I make a long, lengthy opportunity post, they see it. So shorts are basically a 6 to 8 second video that is, I mean, you can do anything. I could video myself right here, sitting here talking to you guys, and that would in just 6 to 8 seconds. And then you put a caption that's too long for the video over the top of it. So it sounds silly, but because every time someone can't read that full caption in the 6 to 8 seconds, they watch it again, and the algorithm tells them that it's being viewed again. So it's like such a silly little hack, but if you put like a longer caption with a short video, it will literally get more views, even though it's coming from mostly the same people. So I get every week, every single week, I'm a consistent Reels creator, and they tell me, I got the badge today. You earned a consistent Reels creator, and it's not because they're great, and it's not because they're super fruitful yet, but I'm just still working on growing my network. So shorts, and if you're just like you're kind of not understanding what I'm saying, you can go to YouTube and look up Reel shorts, and there will be a million videos of content creators telling you how to create a short. And again, using trending audio is so important. Always, that's always going to be important, because the trending audios are going to go to the top of the algorithm. It'll tell you how many, Brittani was telling you about the arrow, but also it will tell you how many times it's been used. So another trick I use is, I want to use a trending audio, but I don't want to use the one at the very top. So I want one that's like up and coming, if that makes sense. So I'm trying to read the chat too. So if the very top one has 60 million uses already, it's almost played out. So you kind of want to scroll down in the trending audios and use one that's like starting to get popular. Does that make sense? So that's another thing I do. I also, when I do product opportunity in Reels, but I'll always do what Brittani just said, which is like read the caption, because I always have so much more to say than I can fit in there. So I'll be like, 6 benefits of glutathione. And again, I'll put too much in the length of time, so they have to read it a couple times, but I end with read the caption. And in the caption, I really get into detail about, a call to action, message me, because I don't want them to just take my reel and then go Google glutathione and order something off Amazon. I want to make sure they read my caption and they know that I can help them purchase a glutathione product, not just like I'm just sharing, facts about it. So that's another thing, is always saying like read the caption at the end. It's a call to action. You want to give them a call to action even in Reels. So those are my best tips for Reels, is doing shorts to grow, not necessarily to grow your business, but to grow your network. And then when you do a product or an opportunity reel, adding a call to action at the bottom and having them read your caption where it says, message me for info, DM me, glutathione, something where they realize they have to actually contact you and not just go Google it.
Yeah, I love that. And I just want to back up what Fayre was saying, because when I had the call with Meta, they actually said, if you want to go viral, do a short reel, like do something very short. And they said it for that exact reason, because they have to watch it so many times to really get the gist of what it was. The algorithm's going to push it out more. So they basically told me, like, have a 2-part strategy, like do your short reels to go viral and to really get some traction, and then do your longer reels to tell a story and really like connect with your audience. So you do both, like do a couple of those, get some good stuff going, and then maybe do one where it was a little longer. You told a little bit more, you were vulnerable. When I do stuff on my healing journey, I do them a little longer so people can, really, get the gist of it, and those do well. But then I'll come back. Like today, I did a really short one. I think it was literally 3.5 seconds. But that was literally something Meta said. So definitely implement that strategy. And what I love about this fair too, for everyone listening, is those short ones, there's really no way to overthink it. They're not long enough to overthink. You know what I mean? Like you can literally just do like the quickest, simplest video ever, and you can still make it great. So for those of you that are maybe a little intimidated by video, probably starting with the shorts is going to be a good idea for you.
Yes. So something that I do that is similar to what Brittany said is when I'm scrolling to find what sounds and what reels and stuff I want to do, I try to get really creative with it. So in my saved folder, I have a saved folder, I don't know, called Immunitech. So sometimes I'll scroll by a video and I'm like, I can twist this and make this about products or the business.
Yep.
For example, this is in my Immunitech one. And I'm like, oh, this is going to be perfect for a product post.
I think you might have accidentally saved my life.
This sound.
Love it.
This is macaroni and cheese with hot
I think you
dogs.
might have accidentally saved my life.
But I'm like, ooh, I can twist that and be holding the Body Shop or fill in the blank product. Something like that. So when you scroll, be creative. When you like see stuff like that, I'm like, ooh, I could do that. Again, macaroni and cheese. And I saved it into there, so that's an option as well. That's what I do. I try to be super creative with my reels. And kind of make them more. Brittany always enticed me back in our last company because she was like so attraction marketing, where it wasn't always just like boom right in your face. No, that's how I grew in my last company. So go for it. But stuff like that really interests me, where it's like accidentally just saved my life, and then people are like, "What is she talking about?" Then they're gonna go read my caption. So I save sounds and I save videos as well. So create yourself a little folder and you can save videos right into there. You go right back to it. So you guys can see super simply. So if I was gonna make this reel, I would click here.
I think you might have accidentally saved my
I'd
life.
click down here on the sound, like Brittany said,
I think you might have accidentally saved
and
my
then
life.
use audio. It's gonna open to my camera and I can film it right there. It's so simple. And all you're gonna do, tip, if you're gonna use a sound that is like that, where you're gonna lip sing the sound, actually say it out loud with the video. Don't like fake it. Say it. Like I'm like, I think you accidentally just saved my life. And I promise you, it'll look so much more real on the video. So that's another tip too. Don't actually lip sync it, whatever. Say it out loud with the video. And then another thing, when I want to make quick reels, this is great. There's a reel in the Reels tab on Instagram. There's a template now. So if you open your reels to go post one, you can see at the bottom it says templates and it will open a few of them. Change your photos. If you don't have live photos on your phone, put live photos on. You can make the bombest reels with live photos. So my tip is when you're making a reel, don't overthink it, guys. If it happens, it happens. But I try not to use a still photo. Like if you're making a video of yourself and then it's like a still photo for like 3 seconds and then it goes back into a video, it just looks super like choppy. If you use live photos, even though it's like a still photo, there's still a little bit of a rock to it. And that makes everything look so clear. This is from my recent baby shower, and it's just all live photos. It's just pictures, but they move. It changes everything when it comes to a reel. It's not just like, boom, look at this picture for 5 seconds. Boom, look at this picture for 5 seconds. So when I want to make a really quick reel, I go to my live photos, go to the templates, boom, 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 put in pictures. You can adjust what part of the pictures, And it can make like some of my best reels are just from live photos. So whether you're doing a product post or an opportunity post, you can, if you're really nervous about getting right in front of the camera right away, maybe start there, do two of those, realize how simple it is to make a reel and how cool it is. Honestly, I forget. Like I'll make a reel one time and I'm like, dang, this is good. This is so easy. And then I like fall off for a couple days. And then I make another one. I'm like, why do I always forget how easy this is? Once you start doing them, it truly is so easy. So if you want to start there, do a couple that way, then get yourself in front of the camera. Just don't not do it because, you're going to learn and it's going to get so much easier as you keep going.
Yep. One thing I just want to share is we did not, like Nicole and Fayre and I, like we went over what our topics were going to be that we're going to be sharing tonight, but we did not tell each other what we're going to be sharing. And it just like is so funny to me, like how similar and in sync we are on everything. So I did not explain it near as well as you did, Nicole, with your macaroni example, but literally, you know how I was saying, like I listen to sounds and I save them when I know I can use them. So today, one of the ones I saved it was like just like a music sound. There was no words. It was one of those like nice classical inspirational sounds, and it said 6 signs like you're in a wrong relationship or something like that. And I was like, ooh, I could do this, like 6 signs you're deficient on glutathione, or like 6 signs you're deficient on vitamin D. And then say like, here's how to fix it, see caption for more. So like to Nicole's point, like just as you get those ideas, like it doesn't have to have anything to do with what the reel was actually about. Like her reel was about macaroni and cheese. The reel I saved was about being in a wrong relationship, but you can still like let that get your wheels turning. So get creative. Like I promise you, like even if you feel like you're not good at all this, like you will blow your own mind when you just start trying and you get in the groove, because you'll realize like you actually are more creative with this stuff than you think. So one other tip I wanted to share about reels before we kind of move on to talking about, writing good captions and reeling people in that way, no pun intended, is make sure to throw some non-business reels and carousels up there as well too. So, figure out kind of what your niche is outside of business and, like sharing the opportunity, sharing products. If you're a mom, obviously it could be anything to do with kids. If you're really into fashion or skincare, you can have like whatever things you want to talk about. Maybe you got out of a really abusive relationship a few years ago and you do want to share, like, here's, warning signs that I didn't notice before that I hope can help someone else. Like all that stuff does great on Instagram. I do a lot of like parenting stuff. Like I'm really big on emotional intelligence and communication and like realizing that like we're raising our kids to be that way. So I'll do like not a whole lot, but like once a month, I'll do like a parenting reel where I'll talk about like, don't expect something from your child that you're not willing to do yourself, and I'll go into things that like people just don't think about. And it's always good conversation starters. Like people comment, people message me and be like, that was so good. I've never thought about it like that. So kind of like use this time right now to like brainstorm like, okay, what are the non-business things that I could be sharing? Because I promise you, if you just drip some of those things out there, that will also attract more followers. But then the people that are already following you, it'll also just like allow them to get to know you a little bit more and like respect you more and not just see you as a business owner, but really kind of see you as like who you are as a person. So now we're going to jump into writing good captions. So I want to share first and foremost, and I don't want to speak for you, Fayre and Nicole, but I feel like y'all are okay with this too. I do not care if you guys share, use anything that I post, and I feel like y'all don't care either. I know some of you, when you're newer, you just get writer's block, you don't know what to say. And so, obviously if you ever see anything we post, go for it. We want you to take it and use it. I always recommend like tweak it up in the notes a little bit and, make it a little more personal to you, but you can always use anything that inspires you that we use. I write all my own captions. And one thing that I like used to do a lot when I would do coaching calls in our last business and I would help people, start to write their own stuff that felt like they were terrible at writing, is I would just get them to tell me like a little bit about their story, like why they started the business, et cetera, et cetera. And then I would just tell them on the phone how I would tell their story. And it was crazy how they'd always come back and be like, oh my gosh, like that was so good. I never thought to say it that way. So if you need help, like obviously all of us are here to help you with that. But a couple good tips that I want to share, and then I'll pass it over to you, Fayre, is you want to make sure that the starting line of your caption is something that's going to make them want to stop scrolling. So it needs to be like 1 or 2 sentences that gets their attention. Sometimes a big mistake people will make is like the caption's good, but the first couple sentences were not. And so no one got to read how good your caption was because they're scrolling and it just didn't catch their eye. And so you can always look at our stuff and get, get ideas of like the hooks that we use to reel people in. And then I like to say like the bulk of your post, that's the meat and potatoes. So you want to start it off with something catchy, something that's going to slow their scroll. Then you can put the meat and potatoes once you have their attention in the bulk of your post. Make sure you're spacing stuff out. If you notice on my posts, like everything's spaced out really nice. It's easy to the eye to read. It's not just all clumped together into one like big run on, paragraph, sentence, whatever. I use a lot of emojis. So if you are not someone that uses a lot of emojis, I get it. A lot of people in my life don't, but like when my husband's texting people back for like confrontational conversations, I'm like, put better punctuation. But I'm like, that sounds so confrontational. He's like, I'm not being confrontational though. I'm like, I know, but like the way it reads, especially if it's like to like his mom or something, I'm like, that does not come across well. So use emojis, use exclamation points, make your stuff sound warm. My whole point with that. And also too, emojis just help people read your post better. Like you'll notice even the post we put in the team page, which this is a little bright all of a sudden, sorry. But if you can see that, like the pink and white hearts I did, like it probably made it a lot easier for you to read. When you were glancing at what this Zoom was going to be about, it probably wasn't really hard for you to figure out what it was about, right? Because the way I structured it when I wrote it, sorry guys, my allergies have been terrible today. But the way I structured it when I wrote it, I made it easy for you to read. You know what I mean? And you'll notice, and I know this is not a bit, this is not like this was a post for our team page, but you'll notice like the very first sentence, Tuesday, 0325 at 7:30 Eastern time. And Tuesday was all caps. Like it got your attention. You knew it was something important. Then I said, we'll be covering and put all this stuff, gave the call to action at the end. Same thing with business posts, same thing with products posts. What I like to do is after the meat and potatoes section, when I'm ending the caption, I always want to make it really easy for them to reach out. If someone is in the middle of scrolling and you don't give them an easy way to reach out to you, it's just going to go in their vault and it's going to be like a nice to know kind of a thing. If you give them an easy way to reach out to you, they're so much more likely going to reach out. So things I like to do, drop an emoji and I'll send you info. If it's an opportunity post, text opportunity to blah, blah, blah. DM me opportunity, comment body shot, and I'll send you info. It can be any simple call to action, but give them an easy way to reach out. Don't just say, message me for more info, because sometimes they don't even know what to say, especially if it's a business post. They're like, oh, I don't know what to ask her. But if you say, message me opportunity, that's easy, opportunity. So always end on a quick call to action. This is like such a simple thing, but it is what, in my opinion, makes or breaks if you get the results you're looking for from your post.
I love that. So I posted this in the March Silver Run the other day, but there's like super simple strategies that I follow when making my captions. And like, it's 3 simple things: stop selling, start sharing. Sounds simple enough, but like people want to know what it does for you. Like I can post all day long. You do need to educate also. So that's another step, which is like kind of controversial because it's like, wait, am I educating or am I sharing? Both. You need to do both. So you need to really tell a story in your caption. Like Brittany says, it needs to be compelling. It needs to be relatable. It needs to be interesting, because honestly, my husband's guilty. He will not even read all of my posts. Like he stops if it gets like past a paragraph. Women are a little different. A lot of guys are the same way, where like they'll read the first one and they'll be like, okay, I got the gist. And then that's it for them. Women, if that first paragraph is pretty compelling, they'll read the whole thing. I will read some of the longest posts in like American history just because they got me, they hooked me. And so just keep in mind, like how you start it is going to make a difference if someone's going to keep reading it or not. So if it's very salesy starting, like I don't know. I can't think of an example, but I'm sure you've seen an ad before where you start to read it and you're like, that's an ad, scroll right past. It
Yep.
has to be more of a story than an ad. Nobody wants to be sold to, but they do buy from people that share a testimony or a compelling story. So stop selling, start talking, start sharing your story. If you don't have a story yet, what the products are doing for you, share a story about what it did for someone else, or share. I did one that was way adsy for me one time, and it was like the autism things, and I had so much interaction on that, which I don't suggest, but it was like so random, but that was a compelling autism obviously gets people, especially if they have a child on the spectrum or a relative on the spectrum, it pulls them in. So just try to ignore the ads. Like I said, I really did that, but it was the conversation starter more so. Post for a reason. Every post should educate. It should nurture. It should entertain, engage, inspire. Like there's so many different emotions you can pull out of people. People do like the education part, but again, add in some of your personal testimony or some sharing of your story. People nurturing, meaning like showing that you care about people's well-being, showing that you care about people's health, nurturing that relationship and showing people that you're a nurturing, caring person and you're not just a salesperson is so important. Inspiring and engaging, again, we've already gone over that, but that's like posting for a reason. You have to bring something out of people or they're just going to scroll right past it. And then number 3, my obvious social selling tip is showing up every day. But the back to the caption where we started is it's just got to be something that makes people pause and read it. So think to yourself when you're writing it, is this something I would stop to read? And if it's not, chances are it's not that great. No offense, but we've all done it. I've done it before where I'm like, that was a flop. I've deleted posts because I'm like, that was a flop. And then I have to rethink what I was trying to say in a more eloquent way. So just always like start it with something super compelling. And then you can put the meat and the potatoes in the middle and then always end with a call to action.
Yeah, I love it. And to Fayre's point about people hating to be sold to, but loving to buy, like it's all about getting them in that different mode. Like don't make them feel like you're selling, but when you are sharing value, they love to buy all the time. So a couple other things is like starting off with like a hook of like, did you know? And like share a fun fact, which you notice that all of us have been giving you guys challenges and tasks in the March Silver Run chat that have something to do with that. And then another good one is like, if you know, blah, 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 listen up. So like I did one very beginning where I said, like, if you have a child with autism or struggling with infertility or autoimmune diseases, or have a loved one with cancer or Parkinson's, listen up, this is for you. And I cannot tell you how many moms of autistic children message me privately and were like, I want to see those studies. So use something that's going to get people to stop their scroll that's relatable. And then on your other posts that are, well, this is also applicable to product posts and opportunity posts, hands down, but even your other posts that we were talking about when you're kind of figuring out your niche, whether it's parenting or sharing about relationships or, you know, anything, skincare, whatever, be relatable and be vulnerable. Like, don't be afraid to share like something that happened to you or, you know, something that maybe you don't really talk about a lot, because that's where you're going to really build that connection and that trust with people. So next, we're going to jump into what kind of posts to stay away from. And this is something we'll just cover really briefly because it's pretty simple, but you want to really stay away from anything that, you know, looks like a stock photo, anything that could look like a commercial, look like spammy. Kind of the Fayre's point, people don't want to be sold to. They love to buy, but they don't want to be sold to. So if you post a stock image of a, you know, like the Body Shot or a stock image of even the Whims. And I know this is hard, guys, because we don't have Whims yet. Well, I know some of you guys have gotten it in, but like some of us are still waiting. Yeah, Katina got hers. I know Abigail on the team got hers. And she already has her kids on it. But then some of us, like Fayre and I were talking today, we're like, where's our Whims? So I know it's hard when you don't have it and you want to share, but just really try to refrain from stock images of the stuff, because it's just not, that is typically what people are going to scroll past because it looks like an ad. So it's going to be so much better to pick up the Body Shot and take a photo than share a picture of the box of the Body Shot. It's going to be so much better to pick up the Sunray or even hold your tiny little red pill than to share a picture of Sunray off the website. And don't feel called out. Like, this is a mistake a lot of people make. This is not like about any single one of you, but it is something we wanted to address because we want you guys to all do well. We want your content to, you know, go as far as it possibly can go. So you really just want to, you know, avoid as much as you can sharing anything that was a stock photo, sharing anything that's like a corporate image, you know, the little fact sheets and stuff, like the short ones, not something that's long. Because if it's long, like I have a friend here locally in a networking group, and she's always asking me why her stuff for her business, totally different industry, not network marketing, why it doesn't do well. And I like had to tell her the other day, I'm like, friend, it's because you're sharing like newsletters from your company that no one is going to click on that image and scroll in and read. Like, that's just, they would much rather you take a selfie in your uniform and write that in the caption. You know what I mean? Like, that's going to get their attention. So just like take that for what it's worth. I personally just always try to be as relatable as I can with my posts. And again, you're going to have days that you just don't feel like taking a picture. I get it. That's where having some good go-to stuff in your camera roll is going to help. And we'll talk about that last. But stay away from the stock photos, stay away from anything that kind of, you know, comes across spammy. You guys have anything to add to that? No? covered it. I felt like that's like something like it's pretty simple. Okay, so next for our last topic, we're going into how to stay consistent even when you have a crazy day. And I know it's something that probably all of you are the most excited to hear about because everyone's busy, everyone's got a lot going on, whether you're a stay-at-home mom with a ton of kids or you're working full-time, you know, we're all trying to do the best we can. And the reality is you're going to have days you just don't have a lot of time and your head just feels like it's in a fog. So here's where we want to really, really help you just kind of set yourself up for success. Work smarter, not harder. Number one, on the days that you do feel like $1,000,000, you did your hair, you did your makeup, take extra photos that day. Don't just take the one photo with the body shot that you're going to post. Go outside where it's, you know, the bright sunlight's on your face. You know, get your husband to take a couple pictures of you. Get one of your kids to go out there. Like I said, even if it's your 5-year-old, like Adeline is 6 and she has recorded stuff of me in the street more than I can count. And she's really good at it too. I tell her, I'm like, hold the camera right here. I'm like, tell me when you're taking the picture. Or she's even recorded reels for me before too. It's funny, but, you know, go outside on those days you feel good and go ahead and like record a couple things or, you know, take a couple extra photos. Maybe you're posting about sunray on Sunday, but you really love the way that picture turned out. Grab the body, go make yourself a body shot, take a couple pictures with that. That could be tomorrow's post. You know what I mean? You had a sound that you saved that you really, really liked. Be like, okay, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and record a quick reel, save it as a draft. That could be posted the next day. You know what I mean? So really utilize the days you do feel confident or even the days that you just had a little extra time. And then some other tips that I want to give is like, not even necessarily posing with anything, but let's say you have a family day. Let's say, you know, I'm going to call you out, Michelle, because you got a lot of kids like me. Let's say you took the kids to the park that day and everyone's being super cute and playing and you're snapping away and it's not even you're in all the photos. Maybe you got all the kids to, or 3 of them even to get, you know, on the slide and, you know, cheese it. Take a couple pictures. And even if those don't get posted that day, those could be used on another day. Maybe 3 days from now, you have had the worst day ever and you finally get the kids in bed and you're like, crap, I have not posted anything all day. Go brighten those photos up in Lightroom and make an opportunity post. These little faces are why I do what I do. You know what I mean? So like, it doesn't always have to be something that, you know, was super well thought out. Like if you can get your camera roll stocked with some material, it's going to help you so much on those days. I know Katine and I were talking because she works, you know, really demanding full-time job. And one thing I was telling her is, you know, same thing, like save those little, like we were talking about like the review templates that I've been making for Sunray, which by the way, I want to do the exact same thing with Whims. Once we start getting reviews with Whims, we'll make a thread. Everybody can, you know, share the reviews and we'll make the same thing and have an album for that. But use stuff like that to your advantage. Like maybe it's a crazy day and Katina's on her lunch break and she's like, man, I need to post something, but I have no idea what to post. But she's going to make her body shot because she's drinking it every day. She can make her body shot, put her phone on hands-free mode on story, which if you don't know what that is, it's literally you just go to do a story on Instagram. Oh, Marcella, that's a cute picture with Sunray. You go to do your story and then you click whichever, I can't even see. It's whichever one says hands-free. Yeah, right there, hands-free. And when you click it, when you hold down this button, I'll just show you, you put your little filter on. And then when you hold down, it's going to go 3, 2, 1. So it gives you time and then it starts recording. So what's nice about it is it gives you time to like set your phone up, or you could like set your phone up and then click it and then step back and be ready. That all my talking stories, that's what I do. So I'll set it up in my car. Like I'll be waiting at the bus stop and I'll just like set my phone on the little thing in front of the, you know, the radio and the GPS, click it, counts down for me. And then I'll just talk real quick about the opportunity. But going back to my example with Katina. So say she goes and makes her body shot on her lunch break. She could record herself on hands-free real quick in story and just be like, hey, like I've had a, you know, long day at work already and it's only noon, but I'm making my body shot. I drink this every day. This is helping me so much with my autoimmune issues. I cannot even say enough good things about it, blah, blah, blah. Gives her a thing, post a 30-second story, 60-second, whatever, add the captions on it, post it. And then the next thing she could do is she could take a review. You know, I'm doing body shot. We have Sunray reviews, but just go with me. Say we've got reviews of body shot at this point. She could just post one of those. I did one a day where I had made something that said like glutathione benefits. And then I had a client review. Or client testimonial or whatever. So, you know, quick things like that, you know, you're talking about Sunray and then you share 2 reviews from the Sunray stories we have in the team page. So that, you know, you did a quick 30-second story, but then you shared those 2 reviews. That's going to back up your story even more, make it hold more weight with people. And you got all of that done in like 3 minutes tops. And even if that was the only thing you got done that day, because it was just an insane day, at least you didn't go a day without talking about the business in some way, talking about the products in some way. So that's one of my tips, but Fayre, let's pass it over to you because I'm sure you've got even more good stuff because you always have good content.
I'm making all the notes over here actually. So I'm relishing in this because I'm learning so much from you guys. We're on consistency now, yeah?
Yeah, consistency and also just like,
My notes are all over the place. I was just making
yeah.
notes about hands free, and I'm like, because I'm so bad at Instagram live, like stories, that I was like, oh my gosh, I forgot about hands free. It's been so long since I used it. I was making notes about hands free, and I'm like, where are we? I'm on hands free right now.
So we're basically giving tips on how to be consistent even when your day's crazy. So like,
Okay.
how can you set yourself up for success? Have your camera roll stocked up with some backup items, even if you didn't have time to take a picture that day or whatever.
Yeah. Okay. I thought so, but I got on a tangent on hands free.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. That's wonderful. Yeah. So obviously consistency, we all know, is key. And you guys saw my post in the chat today, probably, where I was like, oh my gosh, my morning didn't start till like 1. It happens to all of us. And I pride myself on consistency, but it happens to the best of us. So having things, I call it your B-roll, having things in your phone, content, videos, things like that, where literally I was sitting in my son's car line today and was like, I have to, like, I haven't posted in 16 hours. I have to get something up. I just went and found an old picture and made it and went to my notepad and stole a former caption and just and posted that. So just constantly, when you have the days where you do have a lot of time, make yourself enough content so that on the crazy days you can throw something up on your lunch hour. I know the majority of you are probably still working full time. I know that I know Nicole, bless her heart, she's pregnant and works till like 7 p.m. Like, she is a busy, soon to be mama, and she gets it done. Like, just save some content, get those pictures while you're looking good. Look at me today. I used an old picture and pretended I looked good, but it was actually an old picture. Because again,
I do that all the time.
I had wet hair and I was sitting in my kid's car line and I was like, here we go. So get some on the days where you're feeling spicy and you're looking all good and your hair and makeup's done, get those pictures. If you need to do a wardrobe change, I'm not kidding you guys, do a wardrobe change. Go run to the beach really quick and get a few in your swimsuit. Come home, put on something, totally different, professional, get a few pictures. Like, seriously, whatever you can do on the days where you have the time, do it, because there's gonna be chaotic days, no matter what your schedule looks like. Even if you have all the freedom in the world, there's gonna be crazy days. So just always having content. I've been stalking Brittani because I love her captions, and I'm usually one that writes my own, but in my insanity, I'm like borrowing some inspiration. So I've gone and I've scrolled down on her page and looked at some of her previous things. I try not to do it like on the same page, on the same day by any means and mess up the algorithm, but and copied and pasted some of her stuff, put it in my notepad, changed it to fit me, obviously, and use that, on a time where I'm like feeling uninspired. So there's so many things you can do to stay consistent. I'm guilty of one thing, which is I usually look like this and not with my hair and makeup done. And so I'm really bad about going live in my stories, but I've been telling myself, get over it, Fayre. Like, we have to get in our stories consistently, talking to the camera, even on the days where we don't feel like it. I'm preaching to you guys as much as I'm preaching to myself. I just told you it's like a stupid thing that I have where I think I need to look good, but truthfully, people don't relate to that, because 9 times out of 10, they probably look homeless like me. So being real and staying in your stories and just constantly having the content ready for a post, and like reels, reels. I save videos of literally everything. Like, if this morning I was on my run and there were dolphin jumping, I save some dolphins in my videos, because someday when I'm feeling uninspired, I'm going to grab a quick quote about something and I'm going to put it over the dolphin video, because you can just get video. We talked about this already with the reels, but again, just constantly throughout your day, if you have a pretty salad, take a little video and scan over the top of it and boom, save that in your video roll, because someday you can make a nutritional post over the top of that salad. So just constantly, I know it's hard because you kind of do have to be glued to your phone on those days where you can, but it makes up though for those days where you can't, and that allows you to stay consistent.
Yep. And I just want to further that one tip about like where you said like the dolphins jumping. I'll do that when we go to the beach. And again, I know not everyone lives at the beach, so I'm going to give a couple tips for if you don't live somewhere like that. But like, I'll go to the beach and just take a really pretty video of like the waves crashing, and exactly what Fayre said. I'm not going to use it that day, but I will use it on a day that's crazy. And I'm just like, I don't even know what to post. And then I'll write something inspiring. It might not even have anything to do with business. It might just be like a little just, random inspo for people. But if your kids are playing at the park, maybe you just get a quick video of them playing. And that could be something where you talk about like, hey, your children are only going to be little for, a season, cherish these days, blah, blah, blah. It might not even be a direct business post. Maybe it's just kind of like getting people thinking. And then the next post you do is business. But there's so many things, if you just like open up your eyes for those opportunities, there's so many things that you could get quick little 10-second videos of that could be good stock for the days that you're busy. But Nicole, let's pass it to you. Because you're so busy. So I really want everyone that's working full time to pay attention, because I know Fayre and I are busy, but it's really easy when you're working to like not feel like someone that is home understands. And I get it. And so we were actually talking, we're so excited for Nicole to share because she's working full time, pregnant, and like is still doing an amazing job being consistent. So share all your tips with everyone.
Well, first off, I just want to jump off what Fayre was saying about, yes, do the B-roll. Yes, when you're feeling good, get all the pictures and stuff. But who gives a damn about what you look like? I promise you, I promise you guys, everyone watching your video feels the same way that you feel. Like, I literally don't care if I literally never wear makeup, but like, if you don't have makeup on and it's 7 o'clock in the morning, everyone watching that video doesn't have makeup on. And it's 7 o'clock in the morning. Like, don't hold yourself back because you're not ready. Please. Like, that is my biggest thing. And with my last company, this industry and being on a team like this I've always been super, super confident, but this really boosted my confidence so much more. The reason I don't look at who views my story is because I don't care. Like, it doesn't make or break me. Nothing like you're gonna get this confidence about you doing something like this that's really, really powerful. So if you're not there yet, you will get there with all the self-development that we do and all that kind of stuff. So what I do, I work full time as a dental hygienist. I leave for work 10 minutes earlier than I like need to, and I sit in my car and I get stuff done for 10 minutes before I go into work. Sometimes that's me taking a video in the car talking about that I just drank the body shot, or I did this, or I did that. And in my 30-minute drive to work, I already feel it. Like I could post that I did it in the morning, and then I'm like, oh my God, it's only 30 minutes later. I just got to work and I'm like all hyped up and I'm talking this fast and blah, 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 and that goes a far way. It could be me just outside because you want to just show your face. So 10 minutes before I get to work, 10 minutes early, the birds chirp so loud at my work, and I'll just walk out there and I literally sometimes don't even say anything. I'm like, it's so nice out here. And I just like walk around. I feel like I just took Sunray, and I always feel like I'm like high for like 10 minutes when I take it because it's so amazing. And I'm like, it's just beautiful out here. And people love it. It's consistent and it's getting you in front of people. So 10 minutes before work, 10 minutes on my lunch break, 10 minutes before I leave. That is literally what I do. And that is how I was a full-time dental hygienist when I started with my last company as well. And those were like, that was 30 minutes for success right there. 10 minutes before I got to work or went into work, 10 minutes on my lunch break, 10 minutes before I left. I'm always the last car pulling out at work. Everyone's gone. They're probably already home, and I'm still there like do. I'm answering people. I'm doing what I have to do. But if I were you, I would take those 10 minutes each time, 30 minutes right there to make your content for the day. Get your face on there. It doesn't matter what you look like. People aren't, if you're putting out good stuff, people do not care. I promise you, they don't care. They're just there to listen. So don't work yourself up. I don't even really say like, sorry, I look crazy today, because like then you're drawing attention to it. Don't even say it. Like, just do your thing. So 10 minutes, 10 minutes, 10 minutes, and then obviously I do as much as I can when I get home, and I try to do 10 minutes before bed. But if you can take 30 minutes right there before you've even made it home from work, I promise you that consistency will really, really show up. And the dolphin pictures and the salad pictures and stuff, take them, because the reels that we talked about before, when you go to the templates and you just use live photos, those are filler pictures that you can literally make anything. You can create anything and they can be the oldest videos ever. So take the pictures, make your husband wait for dinner. My husband's like, Instagram has to eat first. I know. Like, just take the pictures, do the things, save them up. There's times where I'm like, okay, I want to make a reel, and I scroll back like a year and I'm like, oh, this is exactly what I needed. So stock up on them. 10 minutes, 10 minutes, 10 minutes. Honestly, that's my biggest tip.
I love it. That's what Joe always says too. And Joe's like the chef in our family. Like I cook all the like family home cooking meals, but when y'all see the stuff that's like gourmet looking in my story, yeah, I didn't make that. That's all him. Like if you look at my story today, like on
Heart.
I made the taco bowl. Like I was the one that cooked all that, but then I had him chop like the jalapenos and the onions and the avocado. And I look over and he's like, this is yours. And it's a heart. And he like throws avocado on his. And then I was like, hold on, don't eat yet. He's like, oh, the Graham's got to eat first. I love that your husband says that too. But yeah, and then a couple other just like finalizing like tips for like captions for busy days. Fayre said something really good about like putting stuff in your notes. One thing that I love is like when you're listening to like something like The Strangest Secret, which you should be listening to every morning, or you're listening to your favorite audiobook, or you're listening to a new audiobook, whatever, your motivational YouTube video. When there's things you hear that really inspire you, they're like, that was good. Jot down a quote in your notes, because on those days, like Fayre made a comment, I don't want to say, I can't remember exactly what you said, but you said like you have days where you feel like uninspired. You said something about the dolphin video. When you have those days that you feel uninspired, if you can go back to some of those like little couple sentences you put in your notes from a few days ago when you were feeling inspired, sometimes that will be enough to get your wheels turning and to like start writing something and get the flow going. Also, like if I'm like, driving and I'm, waiting for my kids at the bus stop or something, or waiting for when I pick my teenager up from her school, she always takes forever and a day because she's always talking to her friends. And I'll just be sitting there and I'll like be thinking and I'll have like an idea for a post I'm going to make that night. But like, mom brain is a real thing. So I'll like jot that idea in my notes, like just the first couple sentences of how I imagined the post was going to go. And what's awesome is like, then that night, if I'm like, oh, what am I going to post for my opportunity post? I'll go back and look and I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. So share, like, jot those things down, because again, you're going to have days where like stuff is just flowing and you're going to have days where it's just not. And if you had already a few things in your notes, it's so much more likely that you're going to be able to spit something out a lot faster. And then also, as always, like use our stuff. Like Fayre was saying, like if you have a day that you're feeling uninspired, like you can always go to any of our stuff, say, copy, paste something in your notes, and then just kind of tweak it, make some edits, make it sound more like you, change it to be more personal and relative to you. And use that to get you through the hard days. And what's going to eventually happen is like, the more you start taking some of these tips and implementing, you're going to find that like those brain fog days, and I don't mean like you're not going to have days that you have brain fog, but I mean like the days where you have like a middle block where you're like, I just don't know what to do. They're going to start becoming less and less, because you're going to have been setting yourself up for success and getting in a habit where you're just going to find that doesn't really happen to you as much. But it's not going to get like that until you start doing this stuff and start trying. So I really hope this was helpful. We've been on a little longer than we intended, but thank you guys for hanging in there. Does anybody have any quick questions before we hop off? I didn't see any in the chat. All right, well, we'll go ahead and close this out. I know, a lot of you guys have kids you got to go kiss goodnight, or depending on where you're at in time zone. I know we've got some California people, you're probably ready to go make dinner. But thank you guys for hopping on. And if you think of anything that you did have a question about, feel free to drop it in the March Silver Run chat and one of the three of us will answer it. But yeah, we love you guys. We want to see you guys in March. Well, we've got the boom contest and the team page for this last week of the month. And we're going to start April strong and, just hit the ground running. So let's get as many promotions popping this month as we can and get ourselves, positioned to maximize April. So I really hope this was helpful, and we'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.